I'm Richard Dattner, the architect with Peter Sampton of Gruz and Sampton of the 72nd Street station on the Broadway IRT subway line. Located at what is now a kind of urban gateway to the Upper West Side, the 72nd Street station represents an enlargement and an enhancement of a station which was built in 1908 by the architects Hines and Lafarge for the very first subway line in Manhattan, which was the number one, the IRT, Interborough Rapid Transit, which runs all the way from the Battery to mostly along Broadway, up now to 242nd Street in the Bronx. The original head house, which we restored, is one of only 3 remaining head houses, which means a structure above grade serving the below grade subway. So we had a challenge. We were tasked with designing a larger head house directly in line with a smaller, beautiful, historic head house. And we had really 3 choices architecturally as far as expression went. One was to replicate at a larger scale the existing head house, which seemed inappropriate and too historicist. At the other end of the spectrum, we could have done something extremely modern and completely different than the existing head house, much as has been now done at the 96th Street station on Broadway, which we also rejected as being inappropriate in this location. So we took a kind of middle ground where we designed a modern steel and glass building that was in the spirit of the original subway system and some of the turn-of-the-century train sheds, which were masonry on the outside, but wonderful steel constructivist structures on the inside. And we think that that's actually been very successful. It is a kind of grandchild of the original structure. It's respectful. It doesn't try to upstage the original. On the other hand, it's clearly a building of today. It's not trying to look like it was built in 1908. And at the same time, it is larger but uses the same kinds of construction and aesthetic ideals as the original one. Perhaps the most significant thing we did, in a way, had nothing to do with the buildings and with our collaborating landscape architect, Signe Nielsen, was to close the uptown piece of Broadway that extended from West 72nd to West 73rd Street. This had formerly been a largely unused piece of Broadway where buses idled and nobody could walk and wasted space. Together with Signe, we extended the plaza of the new head house all the way to Verdi Square, which is a historic park with a statue of Verdi in the middle, a triangular park known to longtime New Yorkers once in the dim past as Needle Park, because it was in those far-off days of New York an unsafe place where addicts used to go to shoot up. But now the 3 pieces together, the new head house, the restored Verdi Square, and the new plaza, have become a real magnet for urban life. People sit here, there is a newsstand, people get coffee here, and a pedestrian space has been rescued from a former underutilized vehicular path. And as I think of this now, this is an early prototype for what Junaid Sadiq Khan and Mayor Bloomberg are doing now further south on Broadway. They're taking parts of what was an automobile and bus route and turning it over to pedestrians, which is having a wonderful effect on urbanity. It's actually a traffic calming strategy, and it doesn't impede traffic as much as channel it in a more efficient way, but it was an early example. This park was finished in 2003, 8 years ago. An early example of how transforming roads into plazas can be a wonderful boost for urbanity and life in New York City.